Once we do that, our body begins to atrophy.
Way of Will John.
Once we do that, our body morphs and adapts to that new synthetic addition, and there are parts of us that begin to atrophy. And let me give you an example of this. I remember when I was a kid, I grew up in 1950s, 1960s in the middle of America, in the state of Missouri. And we were always told back then, I mean, people used to laugh about it, that you're born with X amount of brain cells. And you start losing them from the day that you're born. And every time you drink a beer in college, you're going to lose some brain cells. That was the leverage, not to drink or smoke or, whatever else it was. And now here's what the new science has found is that we are producing new brain cells until the last breath that we take on this planet. Even at advanced ages, we're producing new brain cells from a part of the brain that is poorly understood, but there's a catch. Unless those new neurons are engaged in a meaningful way, between about 7 and 10 days, they will atrophy and die because the body feels that they're not needed. Mm-hmm. That is an example of, in biology, an adage that is called use it or lose it. We've all heard that, and we usually hear it when it comes to geriatric sex, for example, use it or lose it. By the way, which is also possible with us until the last breath that we take. It's a fallacy that these systems fail, but they depend upon the environment that we give them to work with, and we could talk about that. So the point is that unless our systems are used, the body believes this is how we adapt. The body says, oh, well, maybe I don't need this immune system anymore because I've got chemicals doing it for me. Or maybe I don't need these brain cells anymore because I've got AI doing this for me. That's one life. When the next life is produced, then that is passed on through what's called epigenetics. It literally is passed on through the genes, whether or not they're engaged. And the next generation, all of a sudden, things that we used to do become a vestige of what we've done in the past. And this is how you lose a species. It's exactly how you lose a species. So we are rapidly on a path of giving away our humanness to technology. And people like Elon Musk have brought it to the attention of governments, and he's raised the red flag, but the momentum is so great. And honestly, there's another factor at play that wants us to give away our humanness. And we are all experiencing the consequences of that. And we can talk about that as well. So all of these things, these are all factors that are coming into our lives right now. And it's so interesting. I know it's happening, and I'm still in awe at the slick marketing, the sexy marketing that you see on the internet and that you see in books and magazines that entice young people to believe that they are flawed victims of bad biology and that they need something outside of themselves to be the best version of themselves and to compete in the business world or in the athletic world. And they're willing to compromise their bodies and give away their humanness to technology, because if we are victims of a flawed biology, that means we need a savior. Mm-hmm. And technology is being touted as the savior, and young people have bought into it. And I'm not saying every single one, but I do a lot of live events all over the world, not just in America. And young people all over the world are are not being given any reason, Will, to appreciate the gift of their humanness, to recognize just how precious a human body and a human life is. They're being taught just the opposite. And it's reflected in the way that they treat their bodies, what they put into their bodies, what they ingest, and what they do outside of their bodies. And I'm not saying it's good, bad, right, or wrong. I'm saying there are consequences to the stories that we tell ourselves. And the stories that we're telling an entire generation of young people is that you're a flawed form of life. You're a carbon-based form of life, and carbon is bad. That's what they're being told. They're being told to hate and fear carbon and to worship technology, AI, and computer chips. So Ray Kurzweil in this new book, a lot of people are asking me to comment on this book. He's saying by the year 2045, we will all be a part of the internet of all things. We will be digitally interwoven into the internet, the cells of our bodies and our biology and all of our metrics. Everything will be digitized. Everything will be run by a massive AI that accounts for our spending habits, what we eat, how much we spend, where we travel. It will account for all of the goods that are produced, all of the goods that are consumed, all of the energy that is consumed. All will be under this massive, they call it the internet of all things, or the singularity. The singularity is where we all are just that. We are all part of this digital network of information.